very important lecture dahil karamihan sa inyo ay magtuturo ng K-12, magiging K-12 teachers. So, ano ba yung nangyari? Ano? If you have question, pakitype nyo lang. Ano yung nangyari sa ating bansa, sa ating sistema? Bakit tayo nag-shift sa K-12? Okay. Let's see. Ayan, Oops. Matagal na siyang balak actually. Before World War II, marami nang mamaya. We'll look at the proposal. So, ito yung ating arrangement noon, grade 1 to 7, and then high school 1 to 4. And then during the Commonwealth, there was a move para expand siya. Okay. Umikli yung 1 to 7, naging 1 to 6 from 1945. Dahil nga nagka-gera, and then later on, marami pang attempts, pero hindi siya natutuloy. So ito yung mga iba't ibang surveys and studies that the K-12 advocates used to rationalize yung shift. Dati kasi RBEC, Revised Basic Education Curriculum, then naging K-12. So yung Monroe Survey noong 1925, malala nyo ito, pinag-aralan natin. So part of the recommendation is that secondary education did not prepare for life and recommended training in agriculture, commerce, and industry. In the Crosser Survey in 1930, okay. So again, nirecommend nila yung vocational education. Parang sa Monroe, na-strengthen yung vocational education. Like sa grade 7, may shop work, practical arts, home economics, etc. And then 1949, di ba tinanggal niya yung grade 7 noong 1945? They recommended na ibalik yung grade 7. And then Education Act of 1953, okay? So there was this recommendations now 4 grades and then the intermediate course of 3 grades. So hanggang grade 7 ulit. Pero hindi siya na-implement. Okay, again, in Swanson Survey in 1960, restoration of grade 7. 1970, okay, so ganun ulit, 11-year program. 6 years of elementary at dagdagan yung, so dito hindi grade 7, kundi sabihin nila gawing 5 years yung secondary education. So nung EDCOM 1991, remember we talked about EDCOM last time, na dahil sa EDCOM nagkaroon ng trifocalization, di ba? Isa sa mga diniscuss nilang problema again is yung length of basic education. So they recommended 2 alternatives, magkaroon ng grade 7 or gawing 5 years ng secondary. And then PISER, yung, under the office of ERAC that time, okay, ang kanyang recommendation ay magkaroon ng 1-year pre-baccalaureate system. So para at par. So yung mga magka-college, ang kanilang recommendation, dapat may 1 year muna na pre-baccalaureate. So ang kanilang claim, hindi enough yung high school for college. And then yung PTFOE, yung Presidential Task Force on Education ni GMA. Okay, ang kanyang recommendation, 12-year pre-university program. And then dapat naka-benchmark siya sa abroad. So, maraming recommendation na nagsasabi, sa maraming studies na nagsasabi na hindi enough yung ating years of length of schooling. And then, kinompare sa ibang bansa, So napansin nyo dito na, okay, sa lahat ng bansa sa kapitbahay natin, Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, etc. Tayo lang ang 10 years. Lahat sila, like Singapore, meron pang 14 years, Brunei, 15 years, Vietnam, 14 to 15 years. Tayo lang ang 10 taon. And then later on, ang natira na lang na bansa na 10 taon ay sa buong mundo, ay Djibouti and Mongolia, And later on, Mongolia shifted to extended their basic education. So tayo na lang ang natira at Djibouti. And that because of that, nag-shift sa K-12. Ano? And then there were other reasons nung ginawa na siyang proposal sa Congress. Ang ito yung kung mababasa mo noon, maliliit, ilang taon kayo na, okay, maliit pa kayo, ano? So, ito yung mga arguments nila, mababa. You notice their arguments. Why did they, propose the extension of 2 years and to change the curriculum? One is mababa na yung ating national achievement test, below 75, mga line of 50. Tapos sa mga international assessment like sa teams, lagi tayong second to the last. Okay? And then, isa rin is yung underemployment ng mga young people. Kasi itong young people na to, 19 to 24, ayan, nag-underemploy or unemployment. Malaki yan, 12%. And then mababa ang educational attainment. Hindi naman lahat nagka-college. At ang average number of schooling was 8 years lang. Ano? So sa buong Pilipinas, hanggang sophomore, second year college lang ang naaabot. Okay, and then sa mas mataas sa female, mas nakakapag-aral, mas maraming nag-drop out sa lalaki. They also said na pag nag-college ka na at the age of 16 that time, 16 years old nagka-college, maraming nag-shift ng ibang courses. Sabi nila, because they are not yet emotionally ready. Okay? And then they are hindi pa sila prepared na mag-college, na mag-career decision. And then, kung nag-drop out na sila from high school, kaya ayaw na nilang mag-college, they are too young to be employed kasi 16 years old are too young. Okay, and then they also found out na ito, may mga econ major ba dyan, that schooling pays off. Yung 2 years of schooling beyond grade 10 increases wage income adjusted by probability of employment by 56%. Ano? So kung may added year of schooling, tumataas yung income niya. No? Sa ALS, pag pumasa ka ay 30%. Ano? So kahit matapos mo lang ang high school, beyond second year high school that time or grade 8, tumataas din yung income mo. And then ito yung isang malakas na panghatak nila. Yung mga graduates daw na mga Pilipino, kung nag-abroad sila, they are not automatically recognized as professionals abroad. Dahil sa mga mutual recognition problems. Kunyari, yung Washington Accord, I think Washington Accord, Bologna Accord, at meron pang isa sa Europe. Sa Asia, it prescribes 12 years be an entry to recognition of engineering professionals. Okay, and then sa Bologna Accord, 12 years of education for university admission and practice of profession in European countries. And even in other, yung mga nagmamasteral sa ibang bansa, pag nakita yung POR nila na kulang yung kanilang high school, nahihirapan silang mag-graduate program. Of course, may mga kumontra din dito. Sabi nila na, hindi naman yan eh. May mga tinitignan naman nila yung accomplishment. Hindi lang yung number of years. So naging medyo to. Okay, so ito na yung naging structure natin. Before, ang kindergarten and preschool was optional. So in the past, grade 1 to 6 ay ang start. In the past, hindi requirement yung mandatory yung kindergarten. So kung may magi-grade 1 na bata at hindi siya nag-kindergarten, tatanggapin siya. Mayroon lang siyang 14 weeks na parang bridging, para makakatch, para maturuan siya ng reading, And then high school, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Pero sa K-12, yan, dumaan kayo dyan. Hindi ka natatanggapin na mag-grade 1 yung bata pag hindi siya nag-kindergarten. And then mandatory na siya, and then meron ng junior high school, then meron ng senior high school. So ngayon, okay, ang graduation is 18 years old. So they're supposed to be ready to work, or they can go to, they are more prepared supposedly for university education. Okay? So ito yung mga features ng K-12 curriculum. So ito siya, no? So, okay, so early childhood education, relevant curriculum, yung integrated and seamless learning, okay, building language proficiency, ito yung inclusion of senior high school, and then ito na, no, yung nurturing the holistically developed Filipino, no? Yung meron siyang college and livelihood readiness, okay, and then 21st century skills. So ito, nagkaroon na ng kindergarten. Kung titignan nyo yung kindergarten curriculum, yung curriculum guide ng K-12 is uploaded, naka-upload lahat yan sa DepEd website. Nandun yung mga curriculum guide, ano yung mga objectives, ano yung competencies, ano yung kasama sa curriculum. So it's not as academic, kung titignan mo, wala siyang math, wala siyang English, mga ganon, hindi siya yung academic type, kundi may pagka-holistic pa rin siya. May pagka, tinitignan dun yung socio-emotional development. And then may mga pre-reading, mga recognition ng mga sound, ganyan, hindi pre-reading skills. Okay, kasi nakita nila bakit naging compulsory ang kindergarten. Kasi nakita nila na yung batang nag-kindergarten, mas madali silang matutong magbasa at mas nakaka-stay sila, sa hindi sila madaling nag-give up sa elementary, mas nakakatapos sila. Okay. Pero at the same time, may mga study rin nagsasabi na mas madali sila magsawa. Lalo na kung grade 3 pa lang, na sila, before kindergarten, anong tawag doon? Yung mga pre-primary, preschool. Okay. And then, at the same time, may mga nagtuturo ng kindergarten na parang academic magturo, Kasi wala pa namang early grades. Ito sa UP, meron tayong teaching early grades. Kaya minsan yung nagtuturo ng kindergarten, nagiging academic, Like, nagsusulat na kaagad sila. Just na playing lang, socio-emotional development, hindi ganon, Okay, so yan, ito yung laman ng K-12. Pangalawa, ito yung isang major feature niya, which I like. Yung sa akin, hindi ko masyadong gusto yung pagkakaroon ng kindergarten kasi nga parang masyadong maaga, especially sa mga indigenous children. Yung mga bata, hindi pa nila naaaral yung kanilang, hindi sila na-expose sa kanilang indigenous leaders, tapos nasa school na sila. Ang isa lang advantage sa akin ng kindergarten, may feeding kasi. Sa school, mayroong school feeding program. So yung mga batang hindi nakakakain ng tama sa bahay, maybe because of poverty, then they get to receive mga resources, mga food, supply and whatever, mga feeding, they participate in feeding program. So ito yung pinaka parang centerpiece ng K-12 curriculum, the RA 10533. So ito, the curriculum shall be flexible enough to enable and allow schools to localize, indigenize, and enhance the same based on their respective educational and social context. Okay, the production and development of locally produced teaching materials shall be encouraged, and approval of this material shall devolve to the regional and division education units. So actually, dito yung first na batas, yung RA 9155, which informed the shift, which informed the trifocalization, Sinasabi niya na doon na dapat yung basic education, yung elementary and high school, should be responsive to local context. Okay, so dito, in-affirm ulit ng RA 10533. So nakalagay sa sa curriculum guide na yung pagtuturo, for example, ng history, hindi ka magkukwento ka agad tungkol kay Magellan at kay Jose Rizal. Meron dong instruction na kung yung teacher ay masipag at pinusupport ng district or division, na dapat alamin din yung history ng probinsya or history ng city or ng municipality. So pwede siyang ituro sa araling panlipunan and even sa mga mother tongue, storybooks. Tinuturo yung culture, yung local culture, if it's kunyari yung mga regional culture, Ilocano, Kapampangan, Tausug, at indigenous knowledge system and practices, pati indigenous culture, knowledge system and practices. Dapat nakasama siya, So because of this, nagkaroon ng IPED program para very deliberate ang pagsama sa indigenous knowledge. And then merong topic on disaster risk reduction, lalo na kung prone sa baha, disaster, kung ano man, volcanic eruption, kung ano man yan. Climate change adaptation, and then ICT, use of ICT in the locality. So, trabaho to ng teacher, principal, at yung mga supervisor na yung binigay na generic na K-12 curriculum ay dapat i-localize nila. Kaya dahil dito, mahirap na isang reason din to kung bakit dinidiscourage yung mga textbook. Okay, isang malaking malaking tawag ng debate. Kasi yung mga textbook, lalo na kung gawa naman sa Maynila, hindi naman yan contextualize. So dahil nakalagay sa curriculum, i-contextualize, yung mga, talagang very key yung role ng teacher. Dahil wala naman na isulat ng mga textbook tungkol sa indigenous people, for example. So talaga yung teacher ang gagawa ng kanyang resources. And because of this, DepEd set up their own LRMDS, Learning Resource Development System. Isang portal to, na yung mga nagagawa ng mga teachers ng mga worksheets, mga storybooks in the local language, mga contextualized materials, i-share nila doon, i-upload nila para pwedeng mabasa ng lahat. So, unfortunately, late pa nag-start to. Siyempre, we're thinking about a bureaucracy with 1 million teachers and 30 million students. Talagang very slow, but yet it's moving there. So ito naman yung to address yung poor achievement sa math and science ay introduce yung mga STEM major dyan. Yung spiral curriculum, nung unang panahon, yung panahon namin, okay, so tinuturo lang yung elementary algebra pag first year high school, tapos intermediate algebra, geometry, trigo, stat, and probability, grade 10. So ganyan siya. And then ngayon, na siya dahil spiral, okay, so parang integrated siya at palalim at palawak. Okay? Mula grade 1 hanggang grade 10. Ganun din sa science, So, nung panahon namin, integrated science, second year biology, and then chem, grade 9, and then grade 10, physics. And then, pero dito sa spiral, progression, integrated din siya at unti-unti, mula grade 1 to grade 10. So yan ang isang feature ng K-12. Okay, at ito yung senior high school. Nung before K-12, during the RBEC time, kailangan mong mag-college para maging employable ka. Kaya kung hindi ka graduate ng college, parang mahirap ma-employ kasi ang tingin sa'yo ay yung kulang yung education mo. Pero dito, dahil parang nadagdagan ng 2 years na college education yung high school kasi parang bumaba. Yung ibang mga courses sa college, inilagay na sa senior high school. No? And so the senior high school curriculum prepares students for entrepreneurship and formal sector employment. So at the end of 18 years old, dahil yung meron na silang yung mga meron silang core subject and then may tracks depende sa interest nila, academic. So pwede silang kung gusto nilang magkumuha ng commerce, accountancy later on, even ABM, yung gusto nila ng social sciences, gusto nila ng magturo ng engineering for example or maging science education or science educator, so ito and then yung mga textbook, livelihood, isa rin to, craft, and then sports and art and design so may core subject and then may craft. Mas alam niyo to kasi kayong dumaan dito and then dito rin sa TLE, so dito sa grade 7 to 8 exploratory, and then grade 9 to 10 specialized yung TLE. So napansin niyo yung talagang technical and livelihood education, lumalalim siya hanggang papunta ng mula grade 9 hanggang senior high school. So talagang piniprepare yung mga batang hindi na magka-college at para doon na silang they will be equipped for work, for livelihood, for entrepreneurship. And kahit naman sa ibang bansa, dito lang kasi sa atin parang, I don't know, masyadong, malaki ang ating, nagkaka-oversupply tayo ng college graduates, pero unemployed naman sila. And then they would work as parang pang high school yung work din nila, Unlike sa kunyari sa ibang bansa like Singapore and European countries, talagang very complex ang kanilang parang textbook. Later next week, next meeting sa Thursday, ano ba ngayon? Today is okay na rin dito na ako. Today is Tuesday, sa Thursday pag-uusapan natin yung textbook. So sa ibang bansa talagang very maganda yung kanilang textbook. And then anyway, I'll talk about that next meeting. So sa senior high school, nag-introduce sila ng skills job matching. Yan, mayroong iba sa inyo ito yung topic nila. And then it's also to yung extension ng 2 years was also meant to decongest the curriculum because they're saying na isang reason kung bakit hindi maganda ang education, bakit mahina ang result, ang products ng ating basic education program ay dahil congested masyado. Unlike sa ibang bansa na mas decongested siya, dito ay masyadong yan. Yun ang rason, Okay. So, yan. And then yung isang feature ng K-12 ay yung paggamit ng mother tongue. So, nagkaroon ng shift sa language and education policy. Noong 1900, English only. Kaya kung gumamit ka ng ibang language, you will be penalized. And then 1973, panahon ng martial law. Okay, in between, nagkaroon ng vernacular education. Yung mga 8 languages, ginagamit hanggang grade 2. And then pag 1973, mayroong English and Filipino. Okay, and then 2009, nagkaroon ng MTB-MLE policy and which was strengthened ng K-12 law, So when you say mother tongue-based multilingual education, it refers to the effective use of more than 2 languages in teaching and learning process. So you start with the language that the learner is more familiar with before introducing other languages. So when you say mother tongue or L1, so it refers to the language or languages. Pwedeng lalo na sa Pilipinas, we are multilingual. That's first learned by a child which he or she identifies with, is identified as a native language user of by others. he knows best or uses most, and it includes the Filipino Sign Language. Ano? So, paano yung alam ng bata? Hindi yung, kunyari, kahit na nasa ano ka, isang lugar, kunyari Baguio, okay, ang native language doon is Ilocano or technically dapat Ibaloy, ano? Pero kung yung alam ng bata dahil taga Pangasinan siya ay Pangasinense, then yun ang kanyang L1. So dapat the teacher should be sensitive, should consider ano ba yung L1 ng bata, no? And they should use that as a medium of instruction. Okay, bakit ba why mother tongue? Why is the bakit nagkaroon ng MTBMLE? So ang nakalagay dito sa DepEd Order 74 2009 that there are many studies, local and international research that validated the superiority of the use of the child's mother tongue or first language in improving learning outcomes and promoting accessible education. So ito yan, ito yung mga studies na lumalabas. First, learners learn to read more quickly when taught in their first language. Mas madali silang matuto. Kasi ang ibig sabihin ng reading, it is not just decoding, kunya na-decode mo yung isang word. Kailangan na intindihan because reading involves comprehension. So they are able to read with comprehension more quickly. And then second, pupils who have learned to read and write in their first language learn to speak, read, and write in a second language and third language more quickly than those who were taught in a second or third language first. So, mas madali silang matuto ng Filipino. Kunyari, ang starting nila is, kunyari, kinaraya, they learn Filipino better, and they learn English better. Because nagkakaroon ng metalinguistic awareness. They're able to use yung kanilang L1 skills in understanding and using L2. So dapat skillful yung teacher dyan. Hindi lang yung mother tongue siya, yan, dapat magaling na kayo. Merong mga skills that are involved in, bridging from L1 to L2 or, developing multilingual and multiliterate. Kasi ang aim mo naman ay hindi gamitin lang yung L1 to learn English. Hindi yun, kasi parang ginamit mo lang yung L1 na bridge and then, you burn the bridge. Your goal as a teacher is to develop multilingual and multiliterate children that they can read and write in their languages. So, in their mother tongue, in Filipino, in English. So yung mga elementary education major dyan, I hope that this is something that you will learn while you are in UP. Medyo bago pa tong field na to. Meron akong isang naging project ko ay yung pagsusulat ng operations manual ng MTBMLE for DepEd and UNICEF. So isa to sa talagang inaral namin. And then third, in terms of cognitive development and its effect in other academic areas, pupils who are taught to read and write in their first language acquire such competencies more quickly. So, yung cognitive development, dahil natututo siyang magtanong, dialogical. I emphasize the value of dialogical learning. So, when the mother tongue is used, then yung bata is free to ask questions, to engage with the teacher. Okay, they're able to, to state what they learn in their own language. So, dahil nagpa-participate sila actively, dahil, the mother tongue starts with what they know, the language, the local culture, then it will affect their cognitive development. Okay. So, yun, at isa rin, if you are teaching a difficult subject like science or math, parang ang hirap, nagtuturo ka ng math, for example, which is quite, abstract. Tapos, you are teaching it in English kasi before this policy was issued, math was taught in English. Okay? So can you imagine these children first grade 1 to, ha? They are still adjusting to school life. They come from, kunyari indigenous group. They don't speak English at home. Then pagdating sa grade 1, tinuturuan sila ng abstract concept in math using English. So parang, minsan ang problema, it's not the math, but it's the language. Akala natin mahina sila sa math. Kaya lang, dalawa kasi, parang double ang tawag doon, parang doble yung hurdle nila. They have to hurdle the language and then they have to hurdle the abstract academic concept. So when we use the mother tongue or the language that is most, the easiest language to them, their strongest language. That's what tawag namin yan, strongest language. If we use their strongest language, then we are removing the language hurdle. And lalo na sa test, Iba naman kaya nilang express yung kanilang iniisip, but they don't have enough English facility, the English skills to express what they know. Kaya kung tinanggal mo na yung language barrier, then they can express more pag sila'y nagsasalita at kung sila'y nagsusulat ng kanilang essay. So yun ang isang purpose niya. But implementing MTB-MLE is not easy. It's not just changing the language that comes out of the teacher's mouth. Kailangan, may nagkaroon ng 4 minima. Because we have 184 languages in the Philippines. We are among the most linguistically diverse country in the world. Ang number 1, syempre, was India and Papua New Guinea, mga 600 languages. Tayo, 184, but malaki pa rin. So, kailangan, bago magkaroon ng magamit yung isang language sa school, ay dapat meron ito, Meron siyang orthography or writing guide. Paano mo spelling yung language na yon? Merong dictionary or at least a glossary, grammar guide, reading material. Meron ka dapat gagamitin. Kasi nga for literacy, children literature or storybook. And there should be a teacher who can speak the language and who can teach. Kung wala pa ito, then hindi pa siya status quo muna, So as a result of that policy, ito yung mga first 19 languages na ginamit, starting in 2012. So it's a mix of big, small, and indigenous languages. At itong mga 19 na to, were languages spoken by 90% of the population. So yung 10% na lang, yung karamihan IP languages. Ang ginawa ng DepEd, they set up IP office. So itong IP office under DepEd, ayan, So nag-create sila ng materials, yung 4 minima na yon. Orthography, grammar, dictionary, materials. And once naka-create sila, ito na yon. Ito yung mga bagong languages na gagamitin. So merong additional 47. Okay? So depende rin yan kung willing yung community na gamitin yung language nila. So this is how MTB-MLE is introduced. So hindi siya bigla-bigla na kunyari grade 1 nandun na lahat yung mother tongue, English, Filipino, unti-unti. So you start with oral language first, oral L2, and then reading and writing in L2. So gamitin yung mother tongue and then ituro yung L2 like Filipino or whatever. Pero oral muna like greeting, singing, and then saka mo ituturo yung reading and writing. Okay? So, hindi siya magsusulat ka agad, kundi unti-unti. So, ito yung progression niya. So, ito yung training na ginawa. Kasama ako sa nag-advocacy ng MTB-MLE. Ito nung 2013. So, isa sa mga ginawa namin, nag-train kami ng teachers. We train them to write their own materials. Ayan, mayroong demonstration. Ito, teaching demonstration. And then ito yung aking study. I went to Bugyas, Benguet, yung aking dissertation. And then I found that this particular group, district, talagang masipag silang gumawa ng mother tongue books. Their mother tongue is Kankanaoy. And they produce 300 storybook titles. Ayan, buto na lang may computer, mayroong marunong mag-drawing sa community, mayroong printing shop. So nakagawa sila ng maraming storybooks. Like itong teacher na to, si ma'am ay nakagawa siya ng 20, si ma'am Teresita, So ayan, kahit na iba doon ng sariling gastos, yung ibang principal mas supportive, they use the school budget, Ang DepEd naman ang ginagawa, they give them points for promotion. Ito naman yung aking class, and I wish we can do this, kailang pandemic. Kung hindi pa pandemic, my class, this is my graduate class, we would go to a community, like ito, isang AITA community sa Tarlac, at tumutulong kami sa paggawa ng big books in AITA Mag-ADC. Through their health partnership. And then ito yung ginawa namin, mga big book, storybook, kami na mismo yung nagbabind. And then after namin magawa yung big books, then sinusoli namin sa community, binabalik namin sa kanila. Ayan, masaya sila, nag-reading kami. So ito yung mga ginawa ng mga students ko. And then pati yung Educ 101, if you are enrolled in Educ 101, kung walang pandemic sana, So yung mga students ko sa Educ 101, pumunta sila sa Quezon City Memorial Circle, nag-interview sila ng mga bata, ito naman sa Daguhoy, at ito sa KNL, Cruz Naligas Playground. So nag-interview sila ng mga bata, and then gumawa sila ng mga storybook tungkol sa buhay nila. So because of MTBMLE, maraming mga partners, maraming mga NGO na nagpo-produce ng mga storybooks in the mother tongue. And I was surprised that tinignan ko, more than 2,000 digitized storybooks are uploaded in various portals. Kung gusto nyo sumama, nag-create ako ng group among my former students at gumagawa kami ng ng website namin for this. Okay? So, ano yung mga issues ngayon sa K-12? Well, K-12 is still new. It started in 2013, the batas. The K-12 law was introduced in 2013. Ang preparation ng DepEd began in 2012 and very slow, talagang babagal, And right now, ang daming criticism. So these are the criticism, especially that the K-12 was associated with Pinoy, and Armin. And then nagkaroon ng 6 years, kaya pala nagkaroon ng K-12 kasi they found a president who was willing to support this shift. And then after him, si Duterte, hindi masyadong, parang tinuloy lang, pero hindi masyadong aggressive. Kaya ito yung current issues. The K-12 promised that it will address yung low performance sa science and math, pero pagdating ng TIMSS and PISA, kulelat pa rin. And then they found na yung mga senior high school graduates, hindi sila employable dahil very limited ang kanilang practicum, ilang hours lang compared sa TESDA graduates, tapos wala silang NC2. Tapos yung implementation ng MTBMLE, hindi naman yung mother tongue ng bata ang ginagamit, kundi yung original language. So kunyari nasa Ilocos or nasa gumagamit ng Ilocano, pero may mga bata naman na Kankanay or hindi Ilocano. So, hindi siya mother tongue pero parang vernacular education. And then, yung mga materials are erroneous. Dahil nga ayaw ng textbook, materials should be developed by teachers. Poor quality naman, maraming mga mali-mali. At yung iba pinopost sa Facebook dahil nakakatawa. So before, kasi materials were produced by textbook publisher, So dumadaan sa maraming editing. Pero ngayon sila din ang nag-edit ang kanilang material. So maraming mali-mali. Actually, ganyan din naman sa textbook, may ganyan ding problema. Okay? So ito yung recommendation ni Salceda. There was this bill, pero mukhang hindi ito na ipasa, kulang na yung time, to amend the K-12 law. So sabi niya dito, okay, so number 1, dapat talaga palakasin yung TVET, yung Technical Vocational Education and Training. So ang sinasabi niya dito, dapat, if you look at number 4, TVET as the default senior high school option. So dapat yung buong TVET, yung tinuturong curriculum sa mga TESDA, ay ituro siya ng buo sa senior high school. Hindi lang yung hindi yung shortcut na TVET. Okay? Kasi yun ang nangyari sa senior high school eh. Shortcut nila, no? At the same time, you maintain the other tracks, So it means parang I don't know, maybe may extend pa ng isang taon or whatever, no? And then number 2, so make sure that the language used is the mother tongue of the child, not the regional language. Kahit na English pa yung batang yon, kunyari English speaking siya or Tagalog siya, so yun ang gamitin, hindi yung regional language. And then there should be ensured that yung mga graduates ng K-12 are employable. I-promote sila sa mga employers sa high value industries. And then yung nakalagay dito, yung courses, yung textbook, yung TVET sa senior high school, dapat makatanggap ng national certificate. Kasi ngayon, hindi requirement yung NC2, national certificate sa mga senior high school graduate. Parang optional siya. Ito nakakatawa sa number 6. The creation of Learning Materials Development Center under the UP College of Education. So dahil maraming mga mistakes, error, yun daw UP College of Education, yung ating kolehiyo, ay magsisilbing nag-maintain ng quality assurance. Ayan, pwede kaya to ngayon ang tingin sa atin mga komunista. But anyway, yun ang ni Salceda. Magkaroon ng independent auditor of the accuracy and effectiveness of textbook. Okay, sabi naman ng mga co-faculty ko, co-teachers, tatanggapin daw namin to pag sinabi ng DepEd, and then curricular deloading, ayan, masyadong masyadong, sabi nila, i-decongest daw ang K-12 curriculum compared to RBEC, yung dati. Ang nangyari baliktad, lalong bumigat. Okay. Like sa ALS, dati ang ALS, 700 plus lang ang learning competencies. Nung nagkaroon ng K-12, naging 1,000, almost 2,000 na ang kanilang learning competencies na doble. And then finally, encouragement of summer internship among senior high school students. Hindi lang yung maikling internship na practice na yon.